I mean, what's the kind of questions you'd urge these senators to ask? I mean, as they're sitting here, that's this weekend contemplating what they're going to do. Hopefully the Democratic senators are coordinating and have a plan. I mean, what do you think? Like, what would you pin Pete Hegseth to his chair in that room to answer for?
Great question. Question number one, Mr. Hegseth, thank you very much for appearing before the committee. Now, the job you want, the job you've been nominated for, is a remarkably difficult job. You can only watch how people age, and Lloyd Austin is a great example. A wonderful human being, great leader, and nonetheless, he's got more gray hair than he used to, and it's because it's a hard job. Please lay out your credentials for this job. Just tell me your credentials. Let's see what you have, and we'll discuss each one by one. You were a good major. You were successful up to that point. You were a good host on Fox News, we assume, because you're still employed by Fox News on the weekends. And it's an easy thing. Lay out your credentials. And is there anything in your past that might make women hesitant to follow you? Notably, your comment that we shouldn't have women in combat.
Yeah,
that right there. I think the commanding general of Southcom is a 4-star female aviator.
She is.
With multiple combat tours.
Good friend of mine.
General Richardson might say, Mr. Hegseth, could we talk about? It'd be an easy kill.
Yeah. Laura and I were served together as second lieutenants in Korea in 1988. That's how. Wow. Yeah, and I'm hosting a podcast, and she's a 4-star general. We won't discuss that, But she's doing that because she's a remarkable soldier. She led troops in combat, the invasion of Iraq. She led them several more times. She's earned her stripes. She led air assaults. I was her backup in air assaults numerous times in Iraq. I mean, she's a remarkable combat leader who earned her stripes. And by the way, she did that as lieutenant colonel, where Pete topped out as a major. What about you, Max? If you're in House, of course, but you talk to your Senate colleagues, and maybe you are talking to Senate colleagues, what are the kind of bugs you want to put in their ear to really be pulling out of him that he has to answer for to hold his feet to the fire?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I would say is, do you think it's a priority to make up military plans to take Greenland and take Panama Canal? Do you think it's important to make up to make sure that we refine, update our military plans to take Canada by military force? The president has clearly established these as a priority. They were not priorities in the last 50 years, 100 years. They just weren't. So I think we would all collectively agree that there is no updated plan to do so. So do you think it's a priority?
It's about like 1780, probably.
Yeah, right. So I think that would naturally jam him up.
Yeah.
Right? Because what do you say to that? Right? That's point number one. Point number two is, does he, I really want to get to the bottom, truly, of what he thinks lies in a cohesive unit and how trust building and diversity building is associated with that. I think that's really important.
Yeah. And as the head of the UCMJ, I mean, at the end, he sits at the top of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. He will make decisions on who stays and who goes. He'll be part of the decisions on who gets promoted and who doesn't. I mean, Paul, do you think there's any way possibly? I mean, the good Congressman Ryan said at the top that we need an apolitical or non-political person. I can't imagine a scenario where Pete Hegseth isn't going to consider wokeness or policy when he looks at these promotions that are coming his way in the next 4 years, will he?
Fred, indeed, you have to ask those questions and force him to answer. Yeah. And if Senator Duckworth is asking questions, I suspect that it would be a very difficult time for Mr. Hegseth.
Yeah. And it's the question will be, will it turn enough Republican senators in the meantime to to step away from it. And I mean, he has talked about removing women. He's talked about LGBTQ from our force. He's talked about all these different things. I mean, the thing about Hegseth is because he is a TV host, all these things are on camera. There's no, you can't run from, you can't say, oh, the mainstream. I loved it when he was getting attacked earlier. Oh, the mainstream media is like, bro, you said these things. Here's a video of you saying these things. It's kind of hard to run. I hope they're prepared.